I feel a lot better before. During the low light periods, these fish tend to roam a lot more. The strike zone opens up. Instead of being, you know, a foot or two, it ends up being like 5 or 6 foot. So even though I'm fishing this rip bait along pretty quick, but in between, I'll rip it out there pretty quick, and then in between pauses, I let it sit a little while. So even though I'm ripping it pretty fast, I'm letting it sit long enough, I feel, that the fish have enough time to come up and get it. We'll see how that pans out. We're fishing a little bit of red dirt here. Sometimes on Shasta you get on this red dirt pattern. I'm not exactly sure whether the crawdads like it a little better or exactly what, but there have been actually quite a few times when I'll just catch them on these red dirt banks. So we're trying a little red dirt flat bank. You know, like I said, today we're out pre-fishing. We're kind of out trying some different stuff, out experimenting a little bit, seeing what it takes to get maybe a few better bites. We got a couple of good bites already. We're looking for a couple more. Trying to, you know, the whole idea about pre-fishing is just come up with a pattern and try to get a pattern of where these fish are, what they're doing. You know, we're a couple weeks out, so if we can figure out where they are now and hopefully kind of follow them through the next couple weeks and see where they go, where they change from, that would be a big plus. So the most important thing is just to get a pattern together. You know, when you're pre-fishing for a tournament, you don't really, spots are not really that big a deal. You know, you're going to have your little spots that are your favorite, but I don't try not to rely on a spot. I'll try to rely much more on a pattern. You know, if I'm catching them on a cove or a point or, you know, wind-blown point or, you know, a little piece of structure, what kind of structure that is, and then what kind of bait I'm using to catch them on that piece of structure. So pattern is much more important than a spot. When I'm working this spook, I like to work it pretty hard, especially when I'm covering a lot of water. I like it to make that big pop, splash. I think it calls these fish up a little bit better. This is my little quick Carolina rig. I put an egg sinker on there and a bead and then a hook, and I take a little Mojo rubber band and I put the rubber band through the glass bead and that holds it. And then you can also adjust it wherever you want. I'm using 12-pound Suffix DNA. It's a gray colored line, so it's real clear in the water, hardly shows up, and seems to work out pretty well. Good one too. With that trailer hook, I wonder if he's on the trailer hook. Yeah. Man, he's a fighter. I don't know how big he is, but he's a fighter. Oh, he hooked in the side on the trailer hook. That's why we put this thing on there. See, now if we didn't have a trailer hook on, it would have been just another strike. Look at that. That's a nice spot. Sorry, buddy. Oh. Oh, that was cool. I wonder if that was the same fish that bit. Probably was. Little guy. Feisty little guy. There he comes. Here we go. Oh, got one on. Oh, oh. He's skinny. Skinny didn't spit up a bunch of bait either. That little guy. He's about not even 12 inches. Up in a cove here, I found that most of the bait's getting trapped up in these little coves, and that's where you find some more active fish. Oh, he came off. I thought he was on there. Dang it. There he is. Oh, man. Good one. Oh, it just broke my spinnerbait in half. He's hooked on top of the head. Finally, 3 bites on the spinnerbait, and we got one. Nice guy. 14 inches. There he is. Feels pretty good. May not be that big, but he's a fighter. Oh, he's decent. Had him on the main hook too. He just annihilated it. About 14 inches. We need the pliers. He hit it hard. Okay, let's check them. We'll see. I said 14. I might have been a little short. He's 13 and a half. Close to 14.